Coming up next on KPBS Evening Edition, a new report on prison realignment reveals some surprising news about just who was behind bars in San Diego County jails.
And an update on the 14-year-old murder case of a young girl from the North County. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Joan.
I'm Dwayne Brown.
Another chapter in the Stephanie Crow murder case. The 12-year-old girl was stabbed to death in her Escondido home more than 14 years ago. Her brother and two of his high school friends were wrongly accused of the crime. The charges were eventually dropped, and a transient was convicted of the murder in 2004. The Crow family recently settled a federal lawsuit against police for more than $7 million, but the Marathon case isn't over. Joining me is KPBS senior editor Mark Sauer. Mark, why was Michael Crow's attorney back in court today?
Well, Joanne Mills-Silverman was in court today asking for a simple thing, a federal or an official clearing of his client's name. Michael Crow was accused of this crime 14 years ago. Charges were dropped very soon afterward when blood was found on Richard Tewitt's clothing that traced back to Stephanie Crow, and they want a clearing of his name after this time. Half his life he's had this hanging over him.
You mentioned Richard Tewitt, the transient who was finally convicted of this crime. What is his status currently?
He's in state prison, and oddly enough, in this crazy case, his conviction was overturned a few months ago on a technicality. The state attorney general prosecuted him has gone to the U.S. Supreme Court to see if that could be blocked. If not, he would be entitled to a new trial. He's been in prison since his conviction of 2004, and the decision would have to be made then whether to retry him in state court.
KPBS senior editor Mark Sauer.
California Attorney General Kamala Harris has determined a young woman convicted in the premeditated murder of her pimp when she was 16 was not a victim of domestic violence. KPBS reporter Amitha Sharma says lawyers for Sarah Cruzan, who spent some of her youth in San Diego, are asking the state Supreme Court for a retrial or clemency. So, Amitha, what specifically did the Attorney General say today?
Well, Dwayne, let me give you a little background first. This month, the California Supreme Court asked Attorney General Harris whether Cruzan, who is now 34 and has spent more than half her life in prison, was a victim of domestic violence at the time she killed her pimp. Cruzan met her pimp, Gigi Howard, when she was 11 and he was 30 years old. Cruzan says he molested her at 11, raped her, and forced her into prostitution when she was just 13. Cruzan says Howard described his prostitutes as his wives, and when she was with him, she actually considered him her man. Attorney General Harris, however, characterizes the relationship between Cruzan and her pimp as at best a professional and financial one, and at worst a criminal one between child rapist and child victim. But the Attorney General says it was not a dating relationship, and therefore Cruzan can't be considered a domestic violence victim.
And Amitha, what was the reaction from Sarah's advocates?
Sarah's lawyers declined comment, but her aunt says she was absolutely confounded. She said concluding that Sarah had been a victim of domestic violence seemed like, quote, a no-brainer to her.
KPBS reporter Amitha Sharma. If you're accused of writing a bad check in San Diego County, you may be one of the thousands of inmates waiting for your day in court. Joanne and her guests have more on this story at the Evening Edition Roundtable.
A new report by the ACLU finds most people serving time in county jails have not been convicted of a crime. That includes San Diego County. It's one of the major findings of the report entitled Public Safety Realignment, California at a Crossroads. One of the authors and ACLU advocate is here to explain, as well as San Diego's head of probation services. But first, a story on prison realignment. Last summer, I spent some time with San Diego County Sheriff Bill Gore and toured one of our local jails as he was preparing for realignment.
Well, this is what we call our main housing facility. It has the capacity to hold about 1,800 inmates. We have about 1,500 here, and we have all types of classification, from minimum security to our maximum security people. So
this South Bay County jail doesn't look a lot different from a state prison. The cell blocks are alike, the metal cots and stainless steel toilets are pretty standard. But take a closer look and you see the obvious. empty cells. In fact, so many empty cells, this entire block can be closed to inmates while repairs are made. Just across the road is Donovan State Prison. So packed that gymnasium sleeps inmates in triple bunks. This crowding is what's driving the decision to send thousands of convicted felons who used to be sentenced to state prisons to local jails.
But make no mistake, this is not a good story. Sacramento has failed the taxpayers and voters again, but this time they're playing with the safety of San Diego residents.
Unlike current offenders, once they serve their full sentence, they will be released with no supervision.
San Diego's public safety officials made this presentation to the Board of Supervisors earlier this week about the impact of 2,000 new inmates to San Diego's jails.
First-time drunk drivers, drug users, and petty thieves may be released back into our community early.
Called non-non-nons for short, they are non-violent, non-serious, non-sexual offenders.
And those non-non-nons include identity theft of huge proportions, vehicular manslaughter, drug dealers, commercial burglars, and the list goes on and on.
We estimate that 85% of this population will need substance abuse services and 20% will need specialty mental health care. From our past experience through initiatives to steer offenders into treatment, typically half of the eligible population will show up for services. Therefore, it will cost the Health and Human Services Agency approximately $8 million to provide behavioral health treatment to 50% of this population.
The bottom line, the inmates are going to cost San Diego about $100 million a year. The state so far has committed to paying part of that amount, about $65 million. Finding $35 million to process and house all the inmates expected to come into county jails will only solve part of the problem.
The concern is the long-term inmates and providing programs so they're not just warehoused and sit here for, 18 months to 4 years in a bunk with nothing to do.
Sheriff Gore is worried about whether he'll be able to provide rehabilitation programs to inmates or whether county jail will become another revolving door in the criminal justice system.
To avoid doing that, we're going to need the money to do some effective programming inside our facility and then have services available that these people can transition to in the community so they're not just kicked out the door and given a bus ticket back to the old neighborhood.
Right now, county inmates serve an average of 75 days. The new inmates will stay on average 18 months, some of them even 8 years.
Everybody in public safety, the whole community has a vested interest in making these people successful so that when they re-enter our neighborhoods, they're not going to have to burglarize your house or steal my car or whatever to make a living. Hopefully they'll have some skills and be able to support themselves.
So far, county officials have only had time to crunch the numbers. Now they're working on trying to figure out what they'll do once inmates begin serving their sentences here in San Diego October 1st. Sheriff Gore, a self-proclaimed optimist, says for now he's looking at the challenge as an opportunity. One he just has to figure out how to pay for.
Well, to me, it seems it's a moral responsibility. First of all, these people are in my care and custody. And from a fiscal standpoint, if I can make them successful when they get out of here so they're not right back in here again in 18 months, to me, that's just morally the right thing and fiscally the right thing to do. So to me, it's a no-brainer.
Joining me are Margaret Dooley-Samueli, Senior Policy Advocate for Criminal Justice and Drug Policy of the ACLU in California, and Chief Mac Jenkins, Head of the San Diego County Probation Department. Thank you both for being here.
Happy to be here.
Margaret, let's begin with what Sheriff Gore said was his biggest concern before realignment began, which is that county jails could become revolving doors just like state prison. From your report, is that a legitimate concern?
That is absolutely the right question. Counties that try to address realignment by just locking people up because they can no longer ship them off to state prison will turn into those revolving doors. So what San Diego County needs to do, and all counties need to do, is implement evidence-based practices to stop that revolving door. That is absolutely the number one thing that counties should be concerned about.
Now, Mac Jenkins, it's your department's job to supervise people who are coming out of state prison on probation, or instead of going to county jail, they're on probation. How has your job changed since realignment began?
Well, we've had a growth in our workload. To date, I think we have about 1,400 new offenders that we're supervising. So our job's changed in terms of adjusting to that new population, but we do have an advantage because we have, as Margaret described, we've been using evidence-based practices with our supervision of felony probationers. So we're applying those concepts to what we're doing with the post-release offenders because we know that those are the kinds of things that work.
Now, there were, some moments in this video where we had county officials say the people would be let out without supervision, and these are drug dealers, and so on. And has that been the experience so far?
Well, the point in the video that was shown was an element of the law that has since changed. At one point in its original version, there was a plan to release some offenders without supervision. And those folks that are sentenced to jail that don't receive what's called a split sentence, actually once they finish their jail term, they're no longer supervised. But the law allows for what's called a split sentence. So the court can order a period of time in custody followed by a period of time of supervision. So we're engaging the court here with our Community Corrections Partnership to encourage the use of that option so that when individuals do finish their jail sentence, they'll have a period of time where they'll be supervised by probation officers.
So, Margaret, let's talk about some of the findings of the report. I mentioned that the majority of inmates in these county jails haven't been convicted of crimes.
That's right. Over 71% of people in county jails in California are awaiting their day in court. The number is slightly lower in San Diego, but still too high. And that's because we don't have very good pretrial policies. We have a system where if bail is set, if you cannot afford to pay that for no other reason than your inability to pay, you will stay behind bars until you either plead guilty or you are convicted in court. And that's too many people wasting jail space that we need to reserve for people who belong there.
I read an example in your report. In San Diego County, for example, if you're convicted of writing a bad check, or not convicted, charged with writing a bad check, bail is set at $20,000.
Right, and that happens automatically. And what San Diego could do better, and all counties in California could do better, is rethink that kind of automatic setting of bail at a level that many people cannot afford. And first, ask the question, does this person pose a risk to public safety? Are they likely to show up for their day in court as required? And if so, then let's put them in the community with monitoring if required, but let's not have them in jail where they may lose their job, etc.
Now, Chief Jenkins, you mentioned split sentencing is one sort of option, but what else is happening in San Diego County in terms of making sure the people you're supervising don't end up back in county jail or in county jail?
What we're trying to do, and Margaret, you again used the term evidence-based practices, and that applies both in identifying who's a good candidate to release on a pretrial supervision, but it also applies in trying to identify the kinds of services that these individuals need so that they can be successful, as Sheriff Gore described in the video. So that involves using things like a risk needs assessment that tells us who has the highest risk to commit another crime, but not only what's their risk level to commit another crime, but what kinds of intervention services do they need so that they can be successful. That's what using evidence-based practices is all about. It's really simply telling us who should be locked up and should be incapacitated for a long period of time versus who are better risks to be served in the community. And so that's what we're doing. It's replete in our realignment plan to use evidence-based practices to manage this challenge with AB 109.
Now, San Diego County fared fairly well in the report, but still, I think one of the things your report really wants to wants the community to talk about is not to build our way out of realignment, not to expand jails, not to build new jails. We know that San Diego County is building a new women's jail. They're also expanding one facility. What's the single most important thing that you think a county should not do with regard to adjusting to realignment?
It should not make the same mistakes that the state has made. Trying to build our way out of jail or prison overcrowding will never work. We've seen that at the state level. Instead, we need to change our approach to public safety so that we aren't just looking at locking people up. We are looking at preventing crime, limiting future victims, and making smart choices, both in terms of allocating our resources and in getting what we want. So these evidence-based practices that the chief refers to, a lot of this is driven by drug addiction, for example. So let's address that by making sure that treatment is available.
And I know that the full report is on our website, kpbs.org. Margaret Dooley-Samueli and Chief Mac Jenkins, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Doctors say most children with reading problems have trouble seeing clearly. A charitable program dedicated to improving the vision of needy children makes a stop in San Diego. We'll also hear about progress to turn Baja's wine region into a Mexican Napa Valley.
It's your economy,
your health,
your environment,
your country.
And it's your choice for president.
Need to Know, covering the issues that matter to you most.
Watch Need to Know, Friday night at 8:30 on KPBS.
Throughout its 50-year history, KPBS's news and public affairs programs have challenged conventional thinking. We're investigating issues before they reach a crisis. Our world is much more than just today's headlines, and KPBS helps all of us explore what's next so that we can take action now.
These extraordinary Americans all share one thing in common, a past they never knew until now.
Never know what you're going to find.
In his new series on PBS, Henry Louis Gates Jr. helps them uncover the truth about where they come from.
Oh, my God.
Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr. premieres Sunday, March 25th at 8, only on PBS.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Irwin Jacobs and by
Downtown San Diego residents who yearn for quiet nights of sleep will have to wait a little longer. The Center City Development Corporation says the quiet zones won't be ready until May. There are 15 downtown intersections where overnight trains blast their horns to warn cars and pedestrians. But to keep the tracks safe, the city will add traffic gates at grade crossings and replace the street warning bells. The new equipment was delayed, pushing back the installation. A global charitable program has set up shop this week at a rec center in National City. It's dedicated to improving the vision of children whose families can't afford to pay for eye care. Many of these youngsters at the Camacho Rec Center have never had an eye exam or a pair of glasses, and they've probably been suffering in silence with blurry vision. Doctors say 94% of children with reading problems have reduced visual skills.
Look straight ahead in front of you. Keep looking there. Straight ahead. Keep looking.
Third grader Lara Cano apparently has astigmatism that causes blurry vision or a halo effect on objects at a far distance.
All right, you're going to look through here. Come a little bit this way. There we go.
Dr. Mita Rahman has been involved with this outreach program for about 10 years now.
Which one makes it better for you? 1 or 2? 1. Good job.
She says one site is about impacting the lives of young people, and providing exams and eyewear free of charge is only part of it. Many of the eye doctors here practice at Lens Crafters and produce about 200 pairs of glasses a day from this mobile van. Lara Cano has been diagnosed as farsighted and picked out this purple rim pair of glasses she'll have to wear all the time.
Well, we're going to get these made up for you so you can see, okay?
Dr. Rahman says it's important parents have their child's eyes checked as early as possible.
There's no such thing as too early of an age. If you suspect something, take them to the eye doctor.
One site has provided eye care to more than 8 million people worldwide in the past 25 years, serving both kids and adults who otherwise couldn't afford it. Marine mammal rescuers at SeaWorld San Diego have been busy lately. Crews have rescued nearly a dozen sea lions in the past week and a half. A pair of troubled sea lions plucked off La Jolla Beach are the most recent mammals to require a rescue. The pair were listless and appeared to be malnourished. SeaWorld says it's typical for sea lions to climb in the spring, and those rescues as well. SeaWorld crews usually rescue 120 sea mammals in a calendar year. All the animals taken in by SeaWorld will be released back into the wild as long as they recover. Baja California's budding wine industry has been gaining traction in recent years, but it still has a ways to go in its goal of becoming a Mexican Napa Valley. Our Fronteras reporter, Jill Replogel, and KPBS video journalist Katie Eufrat take us to the burgeoning wine country south of the border.
Baja California's Valle de Guadalupe lacks Napa's rolling, oak-studded hills, but it does look a lot like some of the wine valleys of Southern California. Sparsely vegetated, rocky hills give way to rows of planted vines and occasional groves of olive trees, rolling down towards the valley floor. Mexican wines have won scores of international prizes in recent years, including 12 medals in last year's International Wine and Spirits competition in Spain. The vast majority of the country's wine is produced in the valleys around Ensenada.
In the early 80s, there were just 4 wineries in this valley, and now there are more than 60, and hotels and restaurants are popping up all the time.
Still, it's not exactly easy to find your way around Baja's wine region. Signage is vague, and most roads off the main drag are unpaved and pocked with potholes and mud puddles. But the region has other, perhaps bigger problems: high taxes and, the bane of all Western farmers, a scarcity of water.
If we want to grow as a sector, we have land, good land, and a very suitable climate. But if we want to grow as an industry, we need water.
Baja California has about 8,000 acres of vineyards, compared to Napa's 45,000 acres. While there simply isn't as much suitable land for growing grapes in Baja, there is a lot more that could be planted. The problem is, the growing city of Ensenada sucks up a lot of the region's water. In addition, salt buildup is a problem in the lower parts of the wine valleys.
La Napa freática, que es el manto acuífero, cuando llueve mucho.
Victor Manuel Torres Alegre explains that when it rains, water picks up salt from the soil and carries it to the lower parts of the valley. When it dries up, the salt stays in the topsoil.
Entonces baja el agua, pero arriba hay una capa de sal.
Salty soil can damage grapevines and decrease crop yields. Plus, some Baja wines have a reputation of tasting a little salty. And then there are the taxes.
A little less than half the price of the wine goes toward paying taxes. So that makes our wine a little more expensive compared with many other wines.
Currently, the tax on wine in the state of Baja California is 41%. It was set to jump to 45.5% in February, but the governor signed a last-minute decree that postponed the tax on local producers for a year. In comparison, in San Diego, the approximate tax on a $25 bottle of California wine is less than 10%. Alberta Ceja Medina runs the Cheque winery along with her husband. She's also the president of Baja's Grape Producers Guild. Ceja is realistic about the possibility of getting taxes reduced for the industry, but she says there are other ways the government could help.
In the history of Mexico, a tax has never been removed. We're business people. We know we have to pay taxes. Right now, we're fighting for a simplification of the administrative requirements to start.
Then, if they can't get the taxes lowered, she says, maybe they can get the government to give some of those taxes back, for example, in the form of credit to producers. The Baja state government has designated the wine sector as a priority industry, but Ceja recognizes that the only way producers will get the support they need to flourish is to demand it.
The government isn't going to say, come here, I'm going to help you. We have to get organized, get prepared and everything, and then go and say, look, this is how we want you to help us.
The government is also looking at ways to provide more water to the region's wine growers. The latest plan is to pipe in gray water from Tijuana for irrigation. And the industry is getting organized and more professional. The State University in Ensenada now offers postgraduate degrees in grape production and winemaking. Manuel Victor Torres Alegre, who has a doctorate in winemaking from the University of Bordeaux, teaches at the school. Still, according to Ceja, the head of the Producers Guild, only about 30% of the wine consumed in Mexico is produced in Mexico. That means there's a lot of room for growth.
If we don't cover it, another country's going to cover it, or another state, another region. So the market is there. We're the ones who have to get moving, the state, academia, and the business people.
If they can do it, Ensenada could just be the next Napa, albeit on a smaller scale. And that could bring benefits to all of its residents.
That was KPBS Fronteras reporter Joe Replogel with video journalist Katie Ufrat. The Public Square is up next. This is KPBS Evening Edition.
I'm Gwen Eiffel on the next News Hour. Republican Olympia Snowe and Democrat Jeff Bingaman on why they're leaving the Senate. That's Wednesday on the PBS News Hour.
Dr. Martin Ellingham is a new dad.
Still no name.
Albert. Terry. And he's taking to it with his usual grace.
Jiggle him up and down a bit.
He wants to leave Port Wynn. And Louisa wants to stay.
It's a little bit complicated. Recipe for disaster.
But with a baby, Doc has a new outlook on life.
No, I don't.
Martin Clunes stars as...
Could you take the baby, please?
That's not our baby.
Doc Martin.
Watch new episodes, part of a season premiere event, March 29th at 8 on KPBS.
The American people have named PBS
the most trusted source of news and public affairs for the 8th year in a row. Trust. The American people have spoken.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Public Square on KPBS Evening Edition. Tonight, a follow-up to the Coney 2012 story. Last week, we told you the narrator of that video and co-founder of Invisible Children, Jason Russell, had what appeared to be a very public breakdown on the streets of Pacific Beach. 33-year-old Russell was seen in various states of undress as he slammed the pavement with his fists. Today, his family released a statement saying Russell was diagnosed with reactive psychosis. He remains hospitalized. The Coney video has had more than 100 million hits online. The 30-minute film brings attention to Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony. Well, if you have something to say about this story, you can join the conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and of course, you can always email me directly, jferrian@kpbs.org. And now let's go back to the news desk where Dwayne has a recap of tonight's top stories.
An April 16th hearing has been set for the wrongfully accused brother of a slain 12-year-old. Stephanie Crow was stabbed to death in her Escondido home about 14 years ago, but her brother and two of his friends were wrongfully accused of the crime. The downtown intersections between Laurel Street and Park Boulevard in San Diego won't be a quiet zone until May. Right now, overnight trains blast their horns to warn cars and pedestrians, but to keep the tracks safe, the city will have to add traffic gates and replace the warning bells. You can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks so much for joining us. You have a great night. We leave you with a look at the forecast.